Hi everybody, my name is Twotris, and today I just kind of wanted to talk about authenticity and what it means to sort of be a creator on the internet. So when you post videos online, there are many different versions of yourself. The version of me that you are currently watching is probably a lot closer to what you'd probably see if I were speaking to like my friends in real life, whereas what you see on the YouTube page is just like a refined version of my thoughts. And I think that the difference between the two, for example, is you can easily be somebody who you're not when you write a script. I mean, that's the whole essence of writing a script. Whereas if you don't write a script and you do everything impromptu, then you basically work with whatever you got. So the recall memory, your acting ability, all of that, I mean, it does come into play when you make a video such as this one, but I still feel like it's more true to yourself, whereas in the other channel, I can say essentially whatever I want, but I still have enough of an ethic, a personal ethic, where I want it to sound as close to this as possible. Of course, I can change the intonation of my voice and whatnot, but what I noticed about these videos is that the comments are actually a lot more positive with these, and I think that it's because everybody who watches these is just looking for somebody who is like relatable, someone who speaks to you like a friend, very amicably. And on the other channel, in the same way that I'm writing the comments and I'm thinking of how to express them in the most refined way possible, people leaving comments on those videos are also thinking of what's the best vocabulary word I can use, what is the best word choice I can use to express my thoughts, and it kind of comes off more, I think refine might be the wrong word, but like going through a filter, whereas everything here is sort of unfiltered, and you really see the true essence of a person when they speak without the whole refining thing. A lot of the comments, for example, on the video that I posted in the last channel, the whole "your story is more, it's better than any transition effect." I think that got close to 1,000, was it 1,000 100 likes? I don't even really remember, but I know that the like ratio to view ratio was a lot better than the most recent video that I posted on Sam Hyde. So if you'd like to go watch that video, I mean, I wouldn't personally recommend it. I think that this channel is more of my true style, but I still enjoy doing that stuff. But if you end up going to that channel and seeing what Sam Hyde is, what I have to say about Sam Hyde, you will definitely notice that I'm more eloquent, using a different vocabulary, and there's just a bit more of I don't want to say exaggeration, but when you read a script, try reading a script, any script, okay? And you want to bring your true self out in that script. You could read it flat, or you can add the emotion, the impact in there. And it's like the same thing that happens with like a movie. Is acting fake or is acting real? I mean, in a certain sense, like acting is certainly fake, but you want to be deceived by the art so that you're immersed in it. And for something that's more like hot content that requires a lot of focus, I think it's better that you do play with the emotions a little bit. It's easy to stray away from that ethic of wanting to be authentic, whereas something like this, I don't know if you're actually watching this right now, you could be doing your dishes or some kind of chore around the house, and that's totally cool. But these kinds of videos aren't necessarily meant to be made where you are actively watching my face, because the background behind me, as you can see, doesn't really change that much. I'm not putting any cuts in this kind of video, but at the same time, it's like a friend experience. It's me being close to you, whereas the information in the other videos is less relatable because it's essentially just not. You are going and watching somebody who is reading that script, putting on some kind of face, using some kind of a script or whatnot. And as a result of that, the relatability factor just completely disappears. But in here, like I said, everybody in the comment section has been extremely positive, like with the Nirvana video yesterday. I thought, why don't I make a video where I just play guitar and sort of explain some of my favorite songs? And I don't really think too much about what I'm going to talk about, other than, talking about specifically what's on my mind that particular day, which is really cool, because in the other channel, I oftentimes think about do I want to make this, but are other people going to watch this as well? Because the Twotris Humble channel is, I wouldn't call it independent media or anything, but I feel a responsibility to keep up with the quality of the videos before, and there's I don't want to say an entire limitation in that, but I wouldn't post videos like this all the time to that channel, because I know that the specific audience on the Twotris Humble channel, the main channel, I just want the information fed to them in a very neatly processed package. and I try to do it in a way that still, has a bit of myself. But the difference here is, in real life, I'm still sarcastic. I can be angry and all that. But when you're acting, when you're getting into a script, you're pulling from experiences that you have in your real life, and putting them for everybody to see. I think that Johnny Depp said something about acting, in that if you're not putting at least a little bit of yourself when you're acting, then essentially that's just lying. So every time I do read the scripts on the other videos, it's me. It's just a version of me. But it makes me thinking, is this a version of me now, or is this the real me? Obviously, I'm looking at you guys with the camera on the tripod behind me, and a bunch of people are, coming, back and forth to my right, which certainly gives me a little bit of anxiety. So there's always a certain aspect of your immediate environment that you think about, which kind of inhibits the freedom of the self. Schopenhauer actually said that and this is one of my very first videos on my other channel, said that in order to experience true freedom, one needs to love being alone, because it is only in being alone that you're really free to express yourself and do anything. Because any context that you're in with other people, anything that requires a social interaction, now it's not just your individuality that you are thinking about, it is the individuality of the other people in front of you, and you have to kind of grapple with how they're going to react, how you're able to make a very effective dialogue between the two of you. And I think in a video like this, it's closer to how I am when I'm by myself, but it's almost strange to think about. But the thoughts that you have inside of your head on every day, no one is ever really going to experience those thoughts exactly as you do. I talked about this actually in the words video, the Are Words Real video, in that every word that comes out of my mouth, is it really real? Is it just a representation of what I actually think? In that a word it's a symbol, it conveys information, and you can interpret it, but you can't experience exactly what I am thinking exactly as it felt when it came to mind. Which is another thing with authenticity is, in essence, any kind of communication is interpretation. And in order to reach true authenticity, I think it's good to know oneself. Who are you? What do you like? What do you want out of life? What are your values? And how are you going to put that in language so that at the very least the interpretation from the other person is very close to how you originally wanted it to be? Now, you will always be misinterpreted. Something about the other video, by the way, that I've noticed is I'm not a perfect human being. I mean, I'm just a guy on the internet, like I always tell you guys. I was talking about how my budget, $1,000 for food, $1,000 for bills, and $1,000 for other things. And people are like, "Oh, you spend $1,000 on food?" And I'm like, you know what? I probably do spend too much money on food, or maybe that's just a Japan thing, because I know people who spend $10 a day, $20 a day. But the thing about Japan is I don't want to explain myself too much, but grocery shopping in Japan is a lot harder for me because I don't have a car. And in America, you go grocery shopping once or twice a month, you get a lot of stuff. And then you kind of wait it out for 2 or 3 weeks until, you have to go grocery shopping again. Whereas here in Japan, convenience stores are really popular. And I go to convenience stores a lot, and maybe I pay $10 for that, and maybe $15 if I'm feeling really stupid. But then there's also transportation. But I really should have thought that other part of the video a little bit more clearly when I posted it, because I realized some people actually have a point about what I was saying. That being said, I still made an attempt to make sure my words were as close to how I felt as possible. And it took me a couple days to think this through. Was I really being honest? Your story is better than any transition effect video. I was the Sam Hyde video, I'm not really sure if I really agree with Sam Hyde, yada, yada, yada. I think in principle, I definitely agree with what Sam Hyde was saying. But I was just kind of getting jaded of the fact that I had kept making videos and it didn't really feel like me. But now that I'm doing this on the side, I feel creatively complete, because now I can, have the creative freedom to do whatever I want on this channel, and just kind of practice. It almost feels like practice in a way when I'm on a channel like this. And then there's the main channel where I actually have to think about the information. But ultimately, what I wanted to get at is, when you're going on the internet, what version of yourself are you going to show? Are you going to show the more super authentic, unfiltered version of yourself? Are you going to challenge yourself not to have any cuts? Right now, I don't want to have any cuts in this video whatsoever, because the cuts in YouTube videos kind of add to the digital sort of lack of authenticity, the processed factor that I already have on another channel that you probably see every day. And instead, people just want to kind of experience a person for who they really are. So if you're watching this video, the whole purpose of it, I guess, is if you had like a certain impression of me in my other channel and you thought that I was an XYZ and you come here, at least you can make a more, what's the right word for it? I would like to be able to express a more accurate impression of who I really am, because the YouTube version that you see on the Twotris channel is still me, but it's entertainment. So that's sort of the thing that I kind of consider too with a lot of content creators. Now, fun story is I actually met Matt versus Japan a couple of months ago. Well, not even months ago. It's like borderline a year ago at this point. But I remember watching Matt versus Japan when I was learning Japanese, and I thought this guy was like, very articulate, very smart. He kind of like seemed level-headed and yada yada. And then I met him in person, and to my surprise, he wasn't very different from how he presents himself in person and how he presents himself on YouTube. Now, of course, I'm relying on his honesty. But I remember the experience being like, wow, this parasocial relationship that I have with this person is now, I can bridge it with a real life experience that I get to own personally. And the impression I have is, he's the kind of content creator who, he's pretty genuine. Maybe he's, a lot of people. I don't want to get too much into it because he's kind of getting into a scandal right now, and I don't know him personally, but at the very least, the impression I got of him in person was like, okay, this guy's very, very similar on screen and off screen, and at the very least, I can respect that, regardless of whether or not I actually like the guy. Whereas there are other content creators that we hear about where they're completely different off screen, and have like a specific persona that they share on the internet, and they never share any other part of themselves. Now, you don't want to overshare on the internet. That's kind of what happens with, with the What If Alt Hiss guy, Rudy, who is talking about, it's on Internet Archives. If you'd like to see some of the things that he shared, it's pretty intense. And I think that there are obviously certain things that are meant to be kept private that you don't want to put on the internet. However, the cool thing about going on YouTube and being yourself is you'll actually find your own community of folks. So the Discord community that I have and the comments section that I have, I'm not friends with everybody, but I'm still appreciative of all the support that I can get. And I think that a creator should be more grateful to his audience than the audience to the creator. And I think a lot of people get that wrong. But, I've met many amazing people on the internet by just having some courage and putting myself out there. And I've seen in the comments on some of these videos who've signed up for the challenge where essentially it's inspiring people to do the same thing. And I really hope that you do, because if you just do it every single day, you say your ideas, you're not afraid of that camera, don't put on a face. Whatever you do, you don't want to be like, oh, click that subscribe button, or like, hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Jackass, and my name is Jackass, or whatever. You don't want to do that if you want to find the true people that you like, because if you're inauthentic, if you put on the acting face and it's too far away from your core essence, you're going to attract people who aren't really like you at all, and ultimately you won't find the friends or the community that you're looking for. And the thesis of this entire project is essentially the internet is a giant community of people that, can find their own little parts of the internet they can carve out. It's kind of like what we're doing here. And I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of the